Hey guys, so we just got back from our first doctor's appointment. It was exciting, nerve-wracking, and long.
Very informative.
And yeah, very informative. Like, so much information, I couldn't even process it all. But, so what happened was when we got there, we took blood work. We did blood. We gave blood.
Yes.
Whatever. So Amanda gave about, we'll say, how many?
Eight vials?
8 vials of blood, and I had to give 14. One of those vials included genetic testing. Then after we did blood work, we both had to do, well, I had to do the ultrasound, which was interesting because she did like the regular test, like she checks like your lungs, your kidneys, and then she does the ultrasound. But in the process of her doing all that, she checked my thyroid, and my thyroid is actually enlarged. So now I have to do, get an ultrasound done of my thyroid. Then she did the ultrasound, and before she did the ultrasound, when we were just talking to her, she was talking about how you can have fibroids in your uterus. And so when she did my ultrasound, she found some outside of my uterus, which she said isn't a big deal. They'll get enlarged, and then once you go through menopause, they'll shrink down. They'll go away. They weren't as, sorry, I took your arms. They weren't that big. They were, what, 12 millimeters or something like that. There was 2 of them. I kind of freaked out at first because prior to, maybe a little more than I should have, but prior to, she was telling us about the fibroids and how, you know, if they're on the inside, you have to get them removed, so that when you get pregnant, the embryo can attach to your...
Can implant.
Right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So anyway, so I have to do further testing, which is called an HSG testing, I think. And basically what that is they like inject dye into your uterus, and they
use an
x-ray, and they make sure like to see where the dye is traveling or something, just to make sure everything's okay, basically. I also, what else do I have to do? There was a lot. So we're also not,
there's a folder full.
Yes. So we're also not like trying to do the procedure, the IUI, not anytime soon. So like we're talking maybe.
That's the biggest argument.
Yeah, we don't know when. We're trying to figure that out with school. Being that I'm a teacher, my schedule's a little different, and she is as well, so it's kind of difficult to figure out a good time to do it. But then again, there is no perfect time, so we don't know in that regard.
So basically, you get the HSG test, and then between day 7 and 10 of your cycle.
Right. So I have to call. Oh yeah, I have to call and make an appointment.
And then after that, you do a follow-up with the doctor.
Yeah.
And then we would order the sperm.
Oh yeah, so they were telling us about ordering the sperm, and like there's literally a list of like
potential
banks to use, and then once you go and you pick a bank, then you have to pick a donor, but this donor has to like match certain things. Like there's something called a CMV test, and if I test negative for it, I want to pick a donor that's also negative, that carried this like disease, I guess, when they were younger, or contracted this disease when they were younger. It's not like a deadly thing, but it's something that like,
most people have it, right? Most
people have
sexually active people.
So you want to pick somebody who, if you're negative, is negative, but if you're positive, then you can pick anyone, negative or positive. So there's that. Also, so about finances and pricing. So we have Aetna insurance, and the plan that we're on, they basically cover all of the blood work and like ultrasounds and everything that we have to do beforehand, but they just don't cover the actual IUI procedure. So once you get the procedure, it's like, what is it, $400?
It's $400.
But you have to do
twice.
So
and
it's basically
$75 to thaw the sperm.
So basically
Which is crazy.
it's $875 for each try. About. That's just for the procedure. Then you have to do you have to buy the sperm, obviously. So after they told us about that, we went and we checked it out, and like, well, Amanda did, over Cold Stone ice cream. We went and checked it out, and I think what we were reading, it can cost
like $995 a vial.
And you should get two vials, at least 2. So you can end up paying
close to $2,000.
$2,000 or more. You also, like, if you can get, probably people get like 3 or 4, because if you're planning on having like another child, you want to have, some people might not need to have the same donor, but our preference is to have the same donor for however many children we have. So we want to have the same donor for every single one. Also, another funny discussion that came up at the doctor was Amanda using one of her eggs. Me carrying, well, explain it.
Taking my egg out and fertilizing
It's IVF basically. So not IUI, IVF. So they'll take your egg
out, fertilize it, and then implant it into you.
Yeah, and then I would carry. So basically, our first child would be my egg, and the second child would be her egg.
And we have 2 different colored kids,
which is fine.
Right.
So, I mean, but they still have the same donor. So that's another discussion. Amanda doesn't really want any procedures like that.
Today was enough.
Yeah, today she had to get a pap smear, and she wasn't expecting it. And so she kind of like freaked out a little bit. But the doctor, by the way, the doctor is
amazing.
Awesome. Like, she's so funny and like nice, and makes you feel so comfortable that like you just like automatically open up and you feel like
she
you can
can
talk
give me
to
a
her.
pap smear any day.
What? But she did make us like really comfortable. Like, I was freaking out a little bit about the ultrasound that I had to get, because it's a internal ultrasound.
And the lady got my blood on the first try.
Which never happens.
Never. We're going back.
So we definitely love the doctor. I feel comfortable there.
Shout out to Dr. Hessler.
Yeah, Amanda feels comfortable there.
She told me I was great.
She told us we were great.
Alright. She told us, but more importantly, me.
No. So, well, now I lost track of what I was saying.
I don't know. How great I am?
No. So,
it's not important.
I don't know what I was saying, but basically, yeah, it was a lot. Oh, and then they also gave me like prenatal vitamin samples and stuff, and then it like reality sort of hit, because I was like, what? Prenatal vitamins? Like, I'm not ready to start taking those yet. Like, we really just went to get the information, the pricing, like what we're gonna have to pay, blah blah blah, and they like hand you prenatal vitamins, and they start talking about like basically as if you're having the baby like next month, and we definitely are not trying to do that. Anyway, no, I think that's it.
What? This is the genetic testing.
Oh yeah, my genetic testing.
About inherited conditions, and
Amanda chose not to do the genetic testing because she's not carrying a child, so like she didn't really,
I'm not passing anything on.
yeah, feel it necessary. But for those of you who your insurance doesn't cover it, for our doctor it was like $250.
That's if insurance didn't cover the whole thing.
If insurance doesn't cover the whole thing. So that's another thing that if you want to keep in mind as far as pricing goes.
It says they can offer testing at no charge to those who qualify.
Yeah. So it's definitely something to look into. We're using the company, what is this? council foresight. I don't know. Looks like this. I don't know if you could see it. And then, yeah. But, you know, if you do use your egg, we're gonna get genetic testing
definitely
done. And then you also look for the donor's genetic testing too, because those results are on the website as well, depending on which sperm bank you use.
I really like this place because we get like assigned a nurse.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So you also get like assigned a nurse.
So it's like 24-hour care.
You have a nurse, a doctor. You also have, what's that the person that you schedule it with? There was a few of those, but we have one lady, that lady, this one. You kind of have your own
administrative coordinator.
Oh, you have your own administrative coordinator, your own doctor, obviously, and your own nurse. So like these are people you could talk to all the time. They know everything about you, like what step you're at in your process and everything like that. We also have to speak to a counselor before we do the procedure, and that counselor basically is just to, the way the doctor put it was like, how do you answer the questions that Aunt Mildred's asking you at like a family function? But
she said I was gonna just punch Aunt Mildred. She's right.
But like the counselor basically helps you answer questions that people might have, explain it to your child, like when they get old enough to ask you about their father, if they do ask.
They came from a petri dish.
Be quiet. She explains like everything
just
to
name
you.
our kid Peaches?
What else did she do? She does something else too. Like when you first meet with her, she talks about
I don't know.
Me either.
I mean, that'll be another video after we meet with her.
Oh yeah, so we'll definitely like let you know how it goes. But yeah, so it was a lot of information, but good information. I'm very happy that we went. And I was just telling Amanda that I was happy because she saw that my thyroid was slightly larger, which, or was large or swollen or whatever term you want to use. And I'm happy that she saw it because no other doctor has ever told me that. So now I'm going to get an ultrasound and see, because my mom also has thyroid problems. So it's like kind of scary, but I'm just happy that, you know, she saw it and I can make an ultrasound and go. So yeah, that's it. The next step is the HSG, which is when they inject the dye. Oh, and I also have to get more blood work.
It's a lot of blood work.
On day 2 to 3 of my period, and then the HSG, right? That's the dye. That's day 7 to 10, like we said earlier.
But you can get it at any point because you're on birth control.
Right. So I'm on birth control.
So your
obviously not to protect me from having a child. But I have a thick uterine lining. So I'm on birth control because when I would get my period, I'd get blood clots and they were painful.
TMI.
Yeah, totally. But it's good. So if you ever were on the NuvaRing, that's what I'm on. Or any form of birth control, that day 2 to 3 of your period, that blood work you probably won't have to do. Because the blood work they did today test your hormone levels, and since my hormone levels, since I'm on birth control, they should be low, right, always. So that's good. But day 7 to 10 is when you do the HSG, and then there was one step after that. Oh, and then we just meet with the doctor, and she goes over all of our blood work and all of those things. I can find out if if I am negative or positive for the CMV test. And things like that, and then we do the next step. So, all in all,
post it.
Today
was a success.
Learned a lot. Got an awesome doctor who is just awesome.
Told Brittany to go have a beer.
Oh yeah, she told me to go have a beer to calm down because I was a little freaking out over the fibroids and the thyroid. But whatever. I freak out over a lot of things, so it's fine. Anyway.
I'll get you that beer.
Right. And then, yeah, it was awesome. We'll let you know how it goes. And That's about it. Anything
That's
else?
it. Nope.
Okay.
Till next time.
Bye.